Years ago, you didn't have that audience because even the women weren't supporting the WNBA.
I've been reflecting on why Stephen A. Smith's statement about Monica McNutt makes my skin crawl, and I think I know why. I've been in this kind of conversation before, just as a black man. Stephen A. Smith reminds me of when white people say they've done more for black people than black people. It's paternalistic allyship. When you criticize any aspect of their record, instead of asking how they can improve, they defend their record as a whole in other areas. You can hear it in statements like this.
We have black women, we have white women. Mina Combs, let me not forget to mention her. There's a female host on my show. Anybody trying to let go of Molly? Before her, it was Kerry Champion. Before Numbers Never Lie came along with Jamel Hill, she's on First Take. First Take has spearheaded diversity and equity.
Monica told Stephen that he could have been talking about the WNBA 3 years ago, and he responds by saying he hires women. Paternalistic allies operate from a position of power and want recognition for actions that require little to no sacrifice or actions that support their interests. First Take did not hire women as a favor to women. Unless he's saying they weren't the best people for the job and he did it to support them. First Take hired women because there was a gap in the market they could fill. This is the equivalent of saying, but black people work for me, as a defense against racism, as if it was some sort of sacrifice. Just because the Venn diagram between what benefited you and a person from a marginalized group intersected with you giving them a job doesn't mean you sacrifice for them. You run a business and they make you money. You can hear how he wasn't willing to sacrifice for women's sports here.
What do you mean we haven't talked about it? Years ago, you weren't resonating. Years ago, you didn't have an audience. Years ago, you didn't have that audience because even the women weren't supporting the WNBA.
If you're waiting for a story about women's basketball to pop before you cover women's basketball, you're not working in support of women's basketball. You're just making a business move. The story started trending up and you jumped on. You didn't create that momentum. You weren't out searching for news hooks to boost the WNBA. The moment presented itself and you capitalized on it. You acted within an area of mutual benefit with the WNBA. You don't get an award for that. This is like shoe companies sponsoring black athletes in the 90s and marketing themselves as civil rights champions. They didn't lay the groundwork for black athletes. They just made sure they could cash in. You hired the best people for the job without excluding women and covered women's stories when there was a viable market. It just makes you neutral. A paternalistic ally doesn't see themselves as a part of the battle with you. They see themselves as helping you with your battle when they act in ways that require no sacrifice or benefit you both.
And it was me on national television calling out the women to support the WNBA. Y'all got to do better in supporting your own sport. The fellas got their sports. This is your sport. Ladies, why don't y'all support them more?
Much like I meet people who see issues in the black community as black issues and not societal issues that we should all tackle, Stephen A. Smith sees women's basketball as a women's issue and talks about it like it's a completely different sport. So anything he does about a problem that's not his issue should exempt him from critique.
The commissioner of the WNBA came on First Take to thank us for what we was doing for the WNBA. I recall Chanel Gumake and Andrea Carter coming on the show and thanking me. Not just for what I was doing for them, but what I was doing for women's sports.
This is the parallel to the "some of my friends are black" argument. They weaponize the approval of others in your group to invalidate your criticism, when in reality, their actions should invalidate your criticism. Mind you, none of this has anything to do with Monica McNutt's claim that he could have done more. He has talked about what he's done without addressing whether or not he'd done enough until this.
The WNBA, could I have done more? Well, guess what, Monica McNutt? I could have done less. Who's done more? Hell, a legitimate argument could be made that the WNBA wasn't doing it for themselves.
He doesn't even disagree that he could have done more. He's just upset that she's not grateful for what he's done. And this is the danger of paternalistic allies. Once they've done anything that also benefits you, the lopsided power dynamic makes them believe they have sacrificed for you, and they start to expect your loyalty. That power dynamic makes them dangerous to criticize because they have the ability to remove the basic decency they've treated you with, and they will. What I wish Stephen A. Smith would have done is take the time to learn more about what he could have done in her eyes, because until equality exists, we're all falling short of supporting marginalized groups, even if we're a part of one.